everyone. Welcome to Inside Asian Success. I'm Jenny Yu, founder of Himalaya Quantitative Solution. Today is my great privilege and honor to interview Wes Hong, former IBM Vice President, Managing Director, and Executive Advisor to Asian nonprofits. Wes, so nice to see you.
Yes, Jenny, thank you for inviting me. The honor is really yours and mine to share, hopefully, my experiences to help the people who will be watching this session. So hopefully during the time we're together, we can spend some and have a dialogue to see how I can help the community. And I look forward to our discussion. So thank you for inviting me. It's a real privilege too at the same time.
Thank you, Wes. So you spent 32 years at the IBM. We talk about your path to become a corporate executive?
Well, I'm not going to tell you everything in 32 years. It will take too long. But when I started, I started as what they call a systems engineer for online systems, what we call the internet, what we see today. And I was an expert in relational databases. So my first 5-6 years in the company, I was very technical. And I was so technical that I was part of what they call the Top Gun squad for national support of online systems and relational databases. Mm-hmm. So I started very technical, but after my sixth year at IBM, maybe even 7, I lost track. I switched over to the sales and marketing side of the company, or what a lot of people call the commercial side. And that's where the big part of my career started, and I stayed on the commercial / the business side of the company. So I was a brand manager, a brand executive. I ran and part of the venture capital group that IBM had. I ran a P&L business in Europe, and I did a couple of business development assignments in emerging markets. And so basically, I had a real broad set of experiences throughout the company. I had branding, I had sales, I had marketing, I had global operations. I worked in strategy and part of mergers and acquisitions. And I had some of the biggest global clients responsibilities in my 32 years. And I guess one of the big highlights is that I served in the C-suite of IBM's corporation as the executive assistant, as one of the executive assistant in the corporate office during my years. So lots of different jobs, lots of different assignments. I learned a lot, and it was a great set of experiences.
Thank you, Wes, for sharing your experience. So from a corporate perspective, what criteria do senior management consider someone executive material?
Well, there's a lot of criteria, a lot of comfort levels, a lot of relationships, but here are some of the ones that I thought that was important. So the first one I always believe is that you have to perform, and you have to perform and achieve what you're given at a very high rate and super quality. So you have to be performing at a super level. That's number one to me. That's always been a basis. If you don't perform at a super level, that's kind of like, what do you call it? The baseline. You have to do that. The other part is that in today's terms, a lot of executives, a lot of companies want people to be bold and to be broad, right? And we can talk about that, but being bold and being broad is very important, and which manifests into taking risk, right? And showing that you can adapt and And not only you can adapt, but you can adapt fast. And when you adapt quickly, they want you to be successful at the same time. You can adapt, but adapting is good, but you got to be successful in what you're going to adapt to. The other thing is, because I worked for a technology company, and we had software, we had hardware, we had services, we had financing, we had a big portfolio. It's very important for me, and in my view, working in a technology type based company, you had to be able to connect the value of technology and how that technology and how that value, what value it brings to a company. So how do you translate the advances of technology to help companies become more efficient, more productive, helping executives make better and faster decisions? How do you get technology to help the business grow? And I thought, like anything else, if you can connect technology and understanding what that technology is and how it brings value to a corporation or to a company or to an organization, I thought that was very, very important. And I think one of the things that I learned through one of my managers is that you got to create something that's unique almost once a year if you can, because I was taught that there's a lot of good people in a lot of these companies, really smart people. So you got to figure out how you differentiate yourself from working hard, being smart, delivering on the promises, but at the same time, create something that's unique, or think through some process or some approach that no one else has been able to think through. So creating something unique and different, I thought was very important too. So that's kind of some of the things I would consider to be important.
I think you mentioned a couple of things to create something unique. It's first to be a top performer. That's the best baseline. And the second part, create something unique. The one thing you mentioned that's really resonated with me is being bold and being broad. Can you, what do you mean by that? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah. So being bold is about challenging the status quo, right? Everybody's have done it this way. Either you're successful or you're not successful, but we're sticking to legacy thinking, old thinking. So you want to take the risk, I guess, to challenge what the status quo is. How do you come up with something that's radically different, that no one thought about it? Again, what I talked about a little bit, it's a little bit like doing something unique. So challenging the status quo. The other thing is that when you do that, most likely you're taking on tough assignments. So when you take on a tough assignment that nobody wants, or it's been a failing business, or the organization has a lot of challenges, you got to have enough risk-taking comfort and capabilities and guts to handle these types of tough assignments. The other thing about bold is again, can you create new things, right? New solutions, new approaches, again, creating something that's unique, right? And and at the same time, challenging business.
Right. So what you talk about being bold, and you also, when you talk about your experience, you have experience with marketing, P&L, and venture capital, all of that. And why being broad becomes so important?
Well, you see, I say that's important in the context of a large corporation. In a large corporation, it's a very matrixed organization. So you need a broad set of experiences to get things done, All right. You need a broad set of relationships to get things done. All right. So being broad is about having experiences in multiple organizations such as finance, technology, business strategy, marketing, as an example. So instead of being just one path or one approach, you learn to integrate or mix and collaborate multiple organizations, multiple thinking, multiple sets of solutions. So you broaden and open up what I call you open up your aperture. Right?
Yep.
Right? So and it shows that when you're broad, it shows that you can collaborate with people that don't work for you, because when you're broad and you're in a matrix organization, you got to figure out how to get things done with other organizations and people who don't work for you. All right. So that's why being broad forces you to become to be more adept in dealing with lots of different challenges and lots of different people. Right? And when you do all this, you gain a lot of different experiences, and that's the trick.
Right.
That's why.
You said that you start with engineer, and there's a lot of Asians state path to be the best engineer, best doctors. Why did you focus on that being broad path?
Typically, if I was good in a specialty or in a vertical already, all right, I was considered one of 6 in the country to be the best of the best. That's why I was part of what they call Top Gun. But that was one path, and I thought it was important, if I was going to ascend to other jobs and assignments, bigger responsibility, more responsibility, getting more compensation, I had to open up what I call more opportunities, or get to more opportunities, and to get to, so I could get more chances of accessing different assignments and different opportunities throughout the company. Because if you just one track, you stay on that track, and your opportunities could be limited. So my theory was, the more experiences I got, and I was good at that, I would get more opportunities. I get to see more people. I get to meet more people, and I can show people that I can do multiple things versus just one thing. If you just stay vertical. Now, some people like that, all right, because it's very consistent. It's a sure thing. It's not too risky. They know what you do, and you know what you're doing. So I didn't think that was my path. I thought by expanding myself, I would get more opportunities. That's what drove me to be broad in thinking and acting.
It's easy to connect a dot when you look back. Like you say, you have a different assignment, different experience, and eventually that those experience, because of those experience, you become a VP at IBM. But when you get started, did you intentionally or strategically choose to take that route? And how do you probably are the only Asian in the room, possibly? And how do you figure that out? How do you know that's the path you want to take?
Well, you're right. In the beginning, traditional Asian culture thinking, work hard, be smart, get educated, and be good in what you do, and that's what I was driven by in the very beginning. Right. So I was very technical, and I always was able to solve technical challenges and issues. But what I learned was that I learned from people, from senior people who are very successful. And I looked at them, how they carry themselves, how they spoke. They were all great storytellers. They were great communications people. They really knew how to tell a story. And I looked at them and I observed them and I said, wow, these people not only are great communicators and they carry themselves well, but people wanted to work for them. So I said, why do people want to work for them? Because they knew how to tell a story, and at the same time, they knew how to take care of people. And they were very, very genuine in taking care of people. So so that's why I learned over time to mimic or to get these qualities from these senior people who I thought were really great people, but they were very successful at the same time. So they always had great ideas. They were always responsive to people, and so I learned from them. I like I said, in the very beginning, I didn't think about all this. I didn't think about moving up on the ladder to becoming an executive, et cetera, et cetera. But I learned from other people. And all these other people, all these good senior people, they always seem to be very broad, and they all have multiple experiences. They could tell a great story. They seem to know how to connect, like what you call connect all the dots. And they were really good at it. So I mimic and I learn from good, successful senior people.
Yeah, seems like you're a great observer and a learner in that process. So thank you for sharing that insight. So a question I want to ask is like, how did your parents influence how you led and how you serve the community?
Well, my parents came from China. They immigrated. They were very, very poor. My parents didn't have an education, so they worked almost every day, and I watched them worked night and day. They worked 20 hours sometimes a day, and one of the things they taught me was be honest and have integrity. Be honest with people, and have integrity in what you do. And so I've always kind of kept that philosophy, is to be good to people. So as an example, people ask me, what's one advice to be a good manager? And my one advice to be a good manager is treat others like how you yourself would want to be treated. All right. So in other words, you treat your people, if you're a manager, treat your people the same way you would want to be treated. So I've kind of kept that as a philosophy, and I always share that with people. It's pretty simple. Everybody says being a manager is hard. It is hard, but if you keep some fundamental principles, just think about yourself. How would you want to be treated? You want to be respected, and et cetera. So that's what I've learned from my parents. Treat others as you would treat yourself. I guess they didn't say that in Chinese. I interpret that in Chinese.
So do you want to share a little bit of what do you do to serve Asian community? Well, I know you did a lot.
Well, today, because of my background, because I really understand the challenges of our community. Our community is very diverse. It's an immigrant community, and we don't have it that easy. So I watch, and I experienced myself. Like I said, my parents had no education, right? And I had to figure it out. So I know how difficult it is for our community. So what I try to do is to pass on with some of my colleagues who have the same philosophy, pass on some of our experiences to the generations that are coming up. So that's so my colleague and I, we created this Stanford program, this Asian American Executive Program at Stanford University's Graduate School of Business. And for the audience, that's how I got to know and meet Jenny here. It's a program and it's over 10 years now. It's one of the best highly rated programs at the school. And it gives a chance for executives like Jenny to learn from others and to learn some of the skills and behaviors that are necessary to continue one's success. So that's one of the things I do every year. And in between, I teach at corporations, leadership development for the community. And hopefully with COVID being over, or at least on a low end, hopefully I'll be invited back to Japan to teach at a couple of universities on leadership skills needed for young Asians to be successful in a Western world. So that's what I'm doing with my semi-retired life, is to help the community and pass on some of the experiences. And I try to gather some of my colleagues who are in the same journey in our lives.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing your experience for doing that for Asian community. You know, I participated in the Stanford program last year. I learned a lot from that program, and thank you very much for you and the Bob to put together such an amazing program. I know you volunteer for the program, and we really appreciate that. I hope more audience can learn and participate from that program.
Yep, I hope so. Yeah. I hope so too. It's as you know, it's very rewarding when I see people do extra things, just like what you're doing, Jenny. No one's paying you to do this, and you're willing to make an effort to help a lot of people that can use some of your advice and some of the things that you're doing. So, you know, good for you too. So thank you very much, and we really thank you for your wealth of knowledge and the insights, and we admire what you have done for the Asian communities. Thank you again, Wes. To everyone watching or listening, thank you for tuning in. We'll be presenting more Inside Asian Success. Stay tuned.